You know Gray Bar for electrical parts, but there's one more thing you may not be thinking of us for that can help maximize your next project's total value. Our pre-project planning services are designed to help you win the bid, save on labor costs, and keep your installers productive across your entire build. The sooner you call us, the better. Because when we're there from the beginning, we can anticipate your needs and help you solve problems before they become problems. Yep, Gray Bar does that.
Hey, happy holidays! Happy everything. Happy Festivus. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy whatever you celebrate. Have a happy one of those. Hi, everyone. Welcome in. It's a special edition of this week's The Show Before the Show podcast from MILB.com. I am Tyler Mon. In New York City is Sam Dykstra. Hi, Sam.
Hi, Tyler. If we're going to wish people a happy Festivus, are we going to actually do the airing of grievances and the...
You know, maybe we should. Like last segment, maybe we should air our grievances this year. But
okay.
They just have to be with each other because they have to be with people that you're with.
Oh, for sure. And then we'll do
around the table and list all the ways they have disappointed you.
Yeah, and then we'll do the feats of strength off air.
We'll just battle it out.
Yeah, because lots of grunting is not great for audio formats, but, you know.
I think I'm just going to edit that out and just use that line. I'm just going to drop it randomly in future episodes from now on. Lots of grunting. But yeah, no, maybe we'll save that for the end of the episode. This is the 89th episode of the Show Before the Show podcast from MILB.com, and it's a new and different one. We wanted to do something kind of like this last year, and then things just got all kinds of hectic over the last couple of weeks of the year. We did our wish lists and we did some other stuff. But this year, I'm really excited for this. We're going to do 2 back-to-back year in review episodes. And Sam and I talked about this the last couple of weeks leading into how we were going to put it together, how we were going to separate the interviews out. But this is going to be a lot of fun. Kind of give us the breakdown of where we're headed with this, Sam.
Yeah, so this week, I think this year, I think we got both lucky and we did a pretty good job of getting guys who eventually made their major league debuts.
Sam did a good job. Sam books the guests every week. Sam lays out the list for 3 strikes, what we're going to talk to Ben about. He's the man. So you did a good job. I didn't have to do much. You're the one doing all the editing and putting this all together. So before we get too ahead of ourselves. But, I think we did a pretty good job, got lucky, whatever you want to call it, of getting guys who made their major league debuts this year. I think we had a run there. You'll hear from them later between Ryan Healy and David Dahl. Like the week after we talked to them, they got called up. So we got our own version of the Stephen Colbert bump here on the podcast. But so that's what we're going to focus on this week is just some of our favorite interviews from guys who eventually got called up to the show. You'll get to hear some of them talk about, their anticipation for maybe getting that call and just kind of seeing where they were at the time. And then you can compare that yourself to what we know about them now, specifically with guys like Almora, Willson, Contreras, who have now gone on to win a World Series, or Alex Bregman, who, continued to be one of the most exciting players in the game, even after getting the bump to Houston. So that should be a lot of fun this week. Next week, we're going to kind of do just other newsmakers, other people who we just found interesting this year that we got to talk to, whether it be, the first female strength and conditioning coach with the Astros, Rachel Balkovec, or TJ Friedel, the Reds prospect, who just had a crazy story of nobody knew he was draft eligible until he signed with the Reds, or Matt Bushman, a minor league veteran who talked to us about making his major league debut and what it's like to be a minor league free agent and what it's like to ride the buses or, travel all around the PCL for a while, hoping to get that chance. Yeah, do it for 10 years before you get that first major league call.
Exactly. So that's how we're going to break it down. It's just some of our favorite interviews, kind of our best of edition, stretched out over 2 weeks, focusing this week, this pre-Christmas, pre-Hanukkah week on, like I said, the debutantes, and then next week is just newsmakers before the bringing of the new year.
I'm excited for this one. Like I said, it's episode number 89, and before we get full-fledged into it, you can find the Show Before the Show podcast at MILB.com/podcast. You can also follow us on iTunes and on the Stitcher app and give us a rating and a review and a subscription and all that stuff. So we'll download right to your phone every week or your mobile device or your, Zune, whatever it is. Did Zunes even get podcasts? I don't think they did, right?
I could not tell you. Zune always seemed like it was like a cool thing. It was like the Sega Dreamcast. It seemed cool, but it was definitely the third in the market, and I just never got it.
Yeah.
So I couldn't tell you the first thing about a Zune.
I wonder if there's anybody out there still using a Zune.
If you're listening to us on Zune and prove it to us, we will come up with some sort
let
of
us
gift
know
for you or something.
We'll get you a Ben's Biz T-shirt that Sam and I don't own yet.
Yeah,
Ben,
that we'll have to purchase ourselves.
Hint.
Through Ben. Yeah.
But you can find the podcast there and let us know your feedback, and you can get in touch with the show, of course, podcast@milb.com. Sam is on Twitter. He's at Sam Dykstra, MILB, and I am on Twitter at Tyler Maughan. And without further ado, we start off our very first 2016 In Review episode in very fitting fashion with back-to-back Chicago Cubs who will be wearing gigantic rings coming 2017. They've already won them. They will be presented them, and we will be hearing their names for many years to come. The way we're going to do this episode, we'll introduce and then kind of just transition between the prospects that are on this week's show. But we really just want to let these interviews speak for themselves based on kind of where they were in the minor league calendar when we talk to these guys. So, first up is Chicago Cubs catcher Willson Contreras. Now, Willson joined the show on February 18th, so that's like a lifetime ago in baseball terms. But this is still maybe my favorite interview of this year because that was a guy at that time who was ready, knew it was going to be a breakout year for him. He was going into Major League Spring Training, really feeling good about himself and what he wanted to accomplish in 2016. And now, looking back on it 10 months later, it really, things could not have gone much better for Willson Contreras. I mean, this was one of my favorite ones all year, and it's really cool to look back on this one now from what we saw from him this year.
Yeah, just kind of speaking personally, I think that he was our first native Spanish speaker on the podcast. We've had a couple since, but so you get to hear him talk his way through English. You know, we weren't quite sure how that was going to go, and he did phenomenally with that. But yeah, now he's definitely, you know, a mainstay in that Cubs lineup going into next year. And at the time we thought he might be the missing piece, but he still has some things to prove. It feels like he's proven them all, and he's definitely going to be slotted into that opening day lineup. At least I would think that opening day lineup in Chicago next year when they, fly that banner for the first time on the north side.
Willson Contreras, the Chicago Cubs catcher from episode 46. Here's what Willson had to say. Really excited for our guest this week on the latest edition of the Minor League Baseball podcast. One of the real rocket fire guys in the Chicago Cubs organization who had a breakout 2015 season. Catcher Willson Contreras joins the show. Willson, how's the offseason? How are you?
Good. My off-season was good down in Minnesota, spending time with my family and getting ready for spring.
So you get to go home, spend a little time with your family, and I know that you've seen some time playing in the winter leagues in Venezuela and stuff. You also played in the Arizona Fall League this past fall for Mesa and got some really good experience there, and that was on the back of a really, really good year with Tennessee. 2015 is huge for you, and now that you're getting set for spring training, how much momentum, how excited are you coming off of a season like you had last year?
I have no words to explain. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy to be in the 40-man roster with the Cubs. So I'm thankful. I'm thankful with the Cubs for giving me the opportunity to play every day last year. And I did what I was supposed to do. I just learned from the Winter League, the 2014 season, and I put it on practice.
And Willson, what kind of work went into last year? Your numbers across the board made a big jump. It sounded like your defensive work really improved behind the plate. What work went into last year that made you, make those jumps?
Home plate, I changed my approach. I started studying the pitcher. I started working the counts, looking for my pitch to drive the ball to opposite field or got to bats. And behind the plate was I started working with the pitcher, start talking to them, and we're gonna start going in the same pace. So that makes the big difference.
Yeah, and you mentioned playing behind the plate, working with pitchers, that kind of thing. It seems like previously in your career, the Cubs have moved you around a lot, some third base, some first base, even some outfield. How comfortable are you now behind the plate as a catcher?
I feel like to be a homer, I feel too comfortable as a catcher. I like my position. I like to stay focused. And now I'm in the spot where I have to put myself in a good way to the big league. So I'm working hard. I'm still working and working in everything. So I'm a hard worker, and I'm here now still working with my different with Mike Porcello and Kim Cousins. They will help me a lot.
Willson, last summer, you were already in the middle of a really good season, and in early August last year, I know Miguel Montero came down and spent about 4 games with you guys, and I remember talking to Ryan Williams for a story that we did last year about a really good start that he had, and he said one of the things that really helped him was getting a chance to talk to Miguel Montero, hear kind of the opinion of a guy who had made it to the major leagues and all that kind of stuff. Being able to work with someone like Miguel in season, I know you caught a couple days and DH'd a couple days when he was there. What was that like being in the same lineup as him and being able to learn from a guy like that for a few days?
It was awesome. It was awesome. I picked his brain up. I started asking questions. And he's a really good guy. I'm so thankful with him. I appreciate and then he gave me some tips that I put in play. Until last month. So I'm still working with him. I'm still asking questions because I want to know more about the big leagues, about the pitchers and the game.
And speaking of working with major leaguers, you mentioned that you're in Arizona right now. Reporting with pitchers and catchers. You've been added to the 40-man roster. After the year you had last year, after this trip to spring training right now, early days still. How close do you feel to the major leagues right now?
How close do I feel to the league? I feel so close. I feel really, really close. I'm working on it. I came to the spring training with a goal to make the team. If I didn't make it, I wouldn't mind because I know that I don't have experience in the big league. But I've been spending time with this pitcher, with the rest of the guys, the big leaguers, and I feel comfortable. I feel like at home. I feel like with my family. And like I say, I came with a goal to make the team. If I didn't make it, I wouldn't mind.
And after the year last year, the Cubs had a lot of really good rookies last year with Chris Bryant, Addison Russell, Javier Baez getting moved up, Jorge Soler. The youth movement that's happening right now with the Cubs. How exciting is it to be a part of that, and how much more is that motivation for you to make it to that next level?
I really, really motivate. They motivate me like because I watch the game, I watch those games, and I don't know how to explain how much I want to be there, how much I want to help the team to win the World Series. But I know sooner or later I'll be there helping the team and enjoy the time with them.
Willson, you are from Venezuela, got to go back to Venezuela for the offseason, and there was some news for baseball fans as far as Venezuelan baseball goes a couple of weeks ago when minor league baseball announced that the Venezuelan Summer League was not going to be operating this year. You didn't play in the VSL. You were in the Dominican Summer League in your rookie season as a professional, but so many guys, so much talent has come out of the Venezuelan Summer League. What is the state of baseball like in Venezuela at this point? Because there's been obviously a whole range of political issues and stuff that go on outside of baseball, but to see that league close down with still so much talent coming out of it, when you look at kids who are 14, 15, 16 years old coming up right now, what is the state of baseball like in Venezuela?
The baseball is our favorite sport to play, so and there is a lot of guys, a lot of young talent, a lot of young guys who want to play in the big leagues, who has goals, and they want to help their family. So we just think about our family to get out of Venezuela, and we just like to work hard. We just like to be smart with our movement. But yes, in Venezuela we have like a lot of big talent, and a lot of young guys.
And when you look forward toward a season like this, where you know that you've got kind of the chance to finally make an impact at the major league level, whether it's, middle end of this season or into 2017, how excited are you, the fact that that's there and your family could get to watch you playing at Wrigley Field and playing in a Cardinals-Cubs game down the road. I mean, you're so close right now. How exciting is that for everything, as far as your family and friends and the people that have helped you get to this level in your career, that's now really, really close for you?
I'm very, very happy. I'm proud of myself for the change that I've been making since I started catching in 2013. And like I say, I'm still working on it, still working hard. I go every day to the field and spend the time with the pitchers, spend time with the team. I start asking questions because I want to know how the games goes in the big leagues. I know it's not the same to play like in the minor leagues, but I know that I'm so close. I know, and I'm so happy to be here. I'm so excited, and we show them that I can play in the big league.
And Willson, what's kind of your focus right now in spring training? In the potential first couple months with Iowa or wherever you're headed. What are you going to be focused on to make that jump? What do you think is the biggest area of your game that needs the most improvement if you're going to become a major leaguer this year?
In the game call, I'm so focused to learn my pitches, to learn how they throw, how they like to work, and getting the same pitch with them. Like I said, I've been talking to them, and then talk to me. So that's gonna be my big job, I think. Yes, they start working in the same pitch with the pitchers, especially when Venezuelan guys really don't know the language. But I'm still working on it. Like I say, I'm faithful. I'm proud of myself, and I'm ready to play in the big leagues.
One of the most exciting prospects in the Chicago Cubs system, and comes into 2016 as the top-ranked catching prospect in all of minor league baseball from MLB.com, and the number 50 overall prospect, and our first Venezuelan guest on the podcast, so we're really excited about that. Willson, thanks so much for the time, and enjoy Mesa, enjoy spring training, and we'll see you at the start of the season.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
From one Chicago Cub to another, Albert Almora was a name that we heard and talked and focused on for so long in minor league baseball that it kind of felt like, man, at what point are we going to actually see Albert Almora break in? We had him on the show back in April, and I remember as we're doing the interview, you think like, man, we've heard about Albert Almora for so long. Like, this kid is so good. He was a first-round pick. At what point is he going to break through? And when we had him on, I remember looking at his player page before we got him on the show. 12 days earlier, we had him on April 28th. 12 days earlier, he had turned 22. Like, that's how good and how long Albert Almora has been good. But he was fun to talk to because not only did we get a chance to talk about, kind of what life was like in AAA. He was getting acclimated to the AAA level at that point. But also, the Cubs are so loaded in the outfield where he was going to slot in. And then I, of course, really like to nerd out on the USA Baseball conversation with him because he's played for like 6 different national teams. He was really fun to talk to.
Yeah, and that's kind of interesting to think about, too, in terms of the WBC coming up. I don't think Albert Almora is really on the depth chart at this point in his career for the Team USA, but, hearing him talk about that's probably what's going to be going on, in the back of some people's minds going into spring. So it might not seem incredibly relevant right now, but if you look at it through that lens, it definitely will be. And it's just fun to think about Almora, the guy who had a big pinch running situation in Game 7. Now you'll be able to hear him from back in April when we, like you said, Tyler, when we asked him about how do you see yourself heading into the Cubs outfield situation that seemed so packed at the time and still seemed so packed by the end. He kind of forced his way in there with his good defense and his, solid speed. So, what that means for him in 2017, we'll have to kind of see. You kind of feel like he'll get plenty of reps in center field, whether that means he'll be with Jason Hayward or not. I'm not sure, but definitely a fun year that followed this interview with him that you guys will be able to hear right now.
Last year, we talked about as the year of the prospect all over baseball, but a place where it was especially felt was in the Chicago Cubs organization. And from that system, we welcome in this week's edition's guest on the Show Before the Show podcast, Albert Almora, who entered the 2016 season as the number 5 ranked prospect in the Cubs organization, according to MLB Pipeline. Albert, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, man, thanks for having me on. Doing
Absolutely, man. Thanks for being on with us. This is first trip through for AAA for you, and you and I got a chance to talk last week after your first AAA homer. You guys have been playing some really good games. At times, it's been kind of a rough go, which in AAA seems like it happens more often than not, where you play a lot of those really tight, tough games where you're playing well and the breaks don't necessarily go your way. But offensively, you guys have looked really, really good at times over the last few days especially. And for you individually, it's been a great start for the season through 17 games, hitting .344, a couple of homers now, OPS of .889. What has the first foray been like for you in a AAA?
It's been a great experience so far. Like I said last time we spoke, I've been having a lot of fun with these group of guys. So it's awesome to wake up really eager to go to the field and work. So I'm having a lot of fun right now, and can't wait to keep going.
And Albert, kind of going back to last year, I was looking at your numbers at Tennessee. Just the way you kind of ended the season in August, you were hitting .352 with a .413 on base percentage, a .504 slugging percentage. It seemed like you really turned it on there in that final month. What was it like? How were you able to end the season so strong, and how were you able to carry that into this year?
To be honest with you, man, confidence was a big thing for me, and I think Team USA helped me out a lot. It was kind of like a refresh button that I hit, and just coming back, having a bunch of confidence in myself that I could play this game, that I'm good at what I do, and then that's what I'm doing right now. It's just playing the game the same game I played in high school, the same way I played in Little League, just having a lot of fun and having that confidence.
Albert, since you led into it right there kind of perfectly, we were going to ask you about all your experience with USA Baseball, because people may not know that you are the all-time leader in USA Baseball appearances. You played on 6 Teams USA, I guess, before you were drafted and signed. And then last year got experience in the Pan Am Games, and obviously you guys finished with the silver and, a crazy gold medal game last year. But that's such high-level experience. And people probably don't understand just what all it takes to get involved at the national team level. But to not only do that, but then do it 6 times before pro ball, what has that lent to you as far as being able to get some of that big-time baseball experience under your belt, even before you got into the minors, not going to college, all that kind of stuff?
Man, to be honest with you, I think Team USA helped me mature so much on and off the field. I went to Taiwan at the age of 15 on my own, with the team, but without my parents or anything like that. So it was something different, and it helped me mature real quick. And I met a lot of great teammates throughout the way, and played against a lot of great players, all over the world. And I don't know, man, it's something about wearing USA across your chest. It's so special, and I've always said it, that any opportunity that I have to wear that jersey, I'm going to take it, and the Cubs were really helpful in letting me go to the Pan Ams last year, and I'll be forever grateful for them for letting me do that. And yeah, like you said, it was a crazy experience last year, and wish we would have got the gold, but it was awesome. It was awesome to be out there and to be a part of that whole experience.
And how do you get involved in that first when you were a teenager? I mean, it's a different process than being drafted. There's all sorts of major league scouts who come up to see you in high school, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
How do you get involved in Team USA? How did they kind of reach out to you?
Well, it was when I started. My first Team USA was when I was 13 years old. So, and if I remember correctly, when I was they had a big trial. So they had this big tournament, big event where every team, whatever team could, that wants to go can go. And you play to win, obviously that, but then there's USA scouts there recruiting guys, and I was lucky enough to get, selected to be a part of a trial. And then when I went to that trial, then obviously I made the team, and that's where it all started. And then every year, I had an opportunity, I made the trial, and I made the team. So that's how it started.
Yeah. And to kind of pivot towards, staying around that age, your teenage years, you get drafted in the first round, 2012, by the Cubs. You've kind of, since that time, in those 4 years since, you've kind of seen this Cubs organization grow from a team that was at the bottom of the NL Central into obviously a contender now, and you're almost right there, at the AAA level. What was it like when you first got drafted by the Cubs, and what is it like now?
I mean, I was so blessed to be chosen by the Cubs. I felt like it was a family from the beginning, and it still is, and it's even closer now as we speak. So I've been so fortunate, man. It's been a great experience. I feel like I'm right where I need to be. I'm happy where I'm at, and it's just very exciting. It's a very exciting future.
Albert, when you look at kind of the next steps for you personally, I mean, the thing that's crazy is you've been in pro ball now since 2012. You've reached AAA, but you're still only 22 years old. What is the step that you most want to see yourself accomplish in 2016? Because so many guys at the AAA level, I think probably end up discovering about themselves things that maybe they didn't know from rookie ball all the way through AA. What is it about 2016 that you really want to get accomplished?
Oof, that's a great question, man. I mean, there's so many, I feel like I'm really hard on myself, and I expect the best from me all the time. So that's a tough. The biggest thing for me is trying to help the team win no matter what, and that's obviously the goal for everybody, every guy. So, but for me, I don't know. It's the same thing. I know I can't get 4 hits every day, but the days I don't, I could, I save a run in defense or something, or base run and make a base running like a move that I can help the team win. So something, just try to help the team win. And personal things that comes and goes, but the team is what matters. And at the end of the year, it's if you win or not. That's what I care about.
Well, just kind of looking at some of the scouting reports on you, it seems like your best tool right now might be your defense. Everybody likes talking about your defense in center field. Kind of describe what is it like playing center field? How do you get ready to be a good defender in center? What are the things you have to kind of work on to become a really, really good defender out there?
Oof. I mean, I take a big pride in my defense. So I'm always trying to work on my defense, and it starts before the game. You look at the weather, you see how the wind's blowing, and if it's hot and humid or it's windy, and it's a bunch of factors. And then once the game starts, it's just know the situation. Try to think of what's going to happen before it happens, and that's with men on, without men on, what the situation of the game's indicating. So just try to be the student of the game as the game's going on. And, it makes the game go by way faster when you're into it the whole time, and I love it. I mean, it's a challenge every game, and I just love it, man.
Yeah, and this spring was your second one, I think, with the big league club. You got a little taste of what it's like to be up there for a little time. What was it like being up there with this group of outfielders that the Cubs have right now? They brought back Dexter Fowler. Everybody saw that video. Everybody was so excited to have him back, and they bring in another really good defender with Jason Hayward. What did you kind of take from those guys this spring, and how do you kind of see yourself playing into that group?
I mean, what I took from those guys are first off, they were great human beings, and they took me under, and then they helped me with whatever I had, any questions that I had, anything. They were honest, and they helped me a lot. So they gave me good pointers, and some of it wasn't even about defense or baseball. It was just about life and being, just being you, and that meant a lot to me. And to be honest, man, it's great. It's great to have those guys. It's one of the best outfielders in baseball right now. I feel like just with them too, and I mean, to be a part of the same outfield with them it's a really humbling experience.
And one thing I learned the other day, which you'll fit in well with as well, the tallest outfield in Major League history also, which is a good thing to know. And Albert's 6'2", so you got that pretty well on lock as well.
Well, I didn't know that, man.
Albert Almora is on Twitter. He is at Albert Almora, which is an easy one compared to what we normally have to spell out for people on Twitter handles, so I very much like that. He's with the AAA Iowa Cubs right now and off to a great start in 2016. And Albert, congrats on the start to the year, and best of luck the rest of the way, man. We appreciate the time.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Then number 5, Chicago Cubs prospect Albert Almora. Like we were saying, he'll be getting a huge ring along with his teammate Willson Contreras, who led off this week's edition of the podcast. And we will leave the Cubs organization behind for the first time in this week's edition of the show. And we'll go from the organization that ended up being the top organization in baseball and the World Series champion Chicago Cubs to a top prospect in baseball, Alex Bregman, who was rated the number 1 prospect in all the game. Really was another guy who it wasn't a matter of if, it was a matter of when in 2017 for him. And Alex has been very, very good to us in talking to us over the course of his minor league career. And the thing that I like about Alex Bregman is he has a very introspective mindset that seems to come very easily to him. Like, he doesn't give a lot of cliched, hackneyed answers. Like, you can tell it's stuff that he really puts in a lot of thought about where he is in his career, what he needed to do to develop, all that kind of stuff. And I think that really came across in this interview. But it's so weird to think about the fact that he was, as far as his career goes, this is one of the last real stages of his minor league career in which we talked to Alex Bregman. This is on episode number 60 of the podcast, which came back in late May. It was on May 26th, and I don't think we're ever going to see him again in the minor leagues after that.
I don't think so, unless we cover a rehab appearance, which we don't wish on anybody because that means injury. But yeah, definitely. The thing I liked about this too is you could just see how analytical he is in his own approach and talking about, why he's finding success, what field he's hitting to. Sometimes you'll hear guys just say, I need to hit tall fields. He kind of goes a little more in depth, which I think is helpful because the game is turning so analytical anyways, particularly off the field. A lot of people are reading fan graphs and stuff, and a lot of people want to turn their nose up and say, oh, well, that's not how the game is played. You just need to see the ball, hit the ball. When you hear players talk about it in the way Bregman does, I think it opens up a couple of people's eyes saying, well, you know what? This is probably how the game is actually going. So with a guy who's had, the run of success he's had both in the minors, now in the major league level as the third baseman for the Astros, a lot of fun to kind of go back and listen to him.
Alex Bregman, top prospect in the Astros system from back in May.
All right, joining us this week on this version of the Show Before the Show podcast is Astros top prospect Alex Bregman, calling in from Corpus Christi. Alex, how is it going so far today?
Going great, man. How's everything with you?
Good. So, yeah, thanks for joining us. You've been one of the hottest hitters of the minor league season. This is your first full season, obviously. How would you kind of describe these first 2 months for you?
It's been good. It's been a fun time so far. Just trying to keep it going. I think the good side is just to do a lot of preparation this off season, a lot of hard work, and generally just determination. And a lot of people helped out this off season with getting ready, whether it's strength or nutrition or in the cage. So big thanks to them, and just having fun, man.
Yeah, and before we get into what you've done this season, kind of take us back to that preparation. What kind of preparation does go in for a season where you're preparing? I mean, you're used to playing college ball where it's just a couple months. This is an entire summer going into the fall. What kind of preparation work did you kind of put in this off season?
At the beginning of the off season, sat down with the strength coach and nutritionist and figured out how I was going to get my body in the best possible the most lean max possible, off staying flexible and mobile and able to play shortstop. And I got all the way up to 205 pounds, still flexible and mobile, running just and the work that we put in, and I think from last year has been huge. I 180 last year college season, so I think 20 pounds up in weight is good.
Yeah, and now kind of coming into this season, when you're talking about strength and conditioning, everybody likes to talk about the 12 homers. You've homered 5 times, I think, in the last 9 games. What's kind of gone into that kind of power increase you've kind of had so far this year?
Yeah, I think it goes back to this off season. Sitting down with my guys from back home and that I've grown up with, hitting with, and we said that we always talk about the keeping on the low line all around the field all the time. I know the Astros wanted me to drive the baseball, and I mean I've just been throwing fair away, the ball up to the right side of the field. It's going to be on the line. It's going to be on the line trying to hit a double, and if it's to the pull side of the field, it's going to be in there.
and it's been a big change for me a lot. And I think every college player like thought, oh yeah, you need to stay on top of the phone and around the line. That's exactly how I thought. And then this year it just changed to really driving the baseball and just seeing it, man. Been seeing it well.
Yeah, and what has it kind of been like to go up against Double-A pitching? I mean, a lot of people talk about, the Double-A pitching is when you first start to see guys who are major league quality. These are guys sometimes with major league experience, and yet you kind of hit the ground running here so far. What has your experience been so far with Double-A pitching specifically?
Definitely. I mean, this is a great league. 8 teams in it, so we got to play each other a lot. So you're facing the same good arms all the time, and they've got a book on you. You got something, so it's a constant cat and mouse game. But the arms in this league have been good. It's definitely the best arms I've faced. But I think I'm ready for it, and I put in the work, put in the preparation, and it's paying off so far, and hopefully it keeps going.
Yeah, and I remember going to Astro spring training this year. I got to talk a little bit with Carlos Correa. I think that was the day you were sent down to minor league camp. And he said he had kind of had a dinner with you just to talk over what it was like to be a pro. What was that dinner like?
It was fun. It was very interesting career, and we just sat and talked about the game and talked about what we do, preparation-wise, what's helping. And it was fun, man. It was a blast to get to know them a lot better. I think we're good buddies now. We've talked throughout the season, and hopefully we'll be teammates here pretty soon.
Yeah, what advice particularly stood out that he gave you there?
Just control what you can control, and that's working hard, preparation, attitude, effort every single day, doing everything you got to this game, and that's what I've done my whole career. That's what's got me here to this point, and I'm just going to keep doing it.
Yeah, and kind of you mentioned hopefully you guys are teammates soon. I mean, one thing it seems like the Astros have kind of done with you lately has been move you over to third, potentially, to fill up that left side of the infield. How has that transition gone? Mixing in third base with shortstop, which you've been playing all year.
And I'm full. So I played there for a full summer when I was 18 with Team USA. And ready? Ready to contribute in one game. But like I said earlier, I gotta just control, and that's working hard.
Mm-hmm. Hey, could you just kind of repeat that? I'll edit it a little later, but you were kind of cutting in and out, and then I think the first thing I heard was the control what I can control bit. Sorry about that.
No, it's all good. I feel very comfortable at third base. I played there for Team USA when I was 18 years old, and getting back over there, the ball just gets on you a little bit quicker. But I feel 100% comfortable over there right now, and I feel like I can contribute at the big league level there. But like I said before, I just want to control what I can control, and that's working hard every single day.
Mm-hmm. And what was that process like when they came to you to say, "Hey, we're going to give you a shot over there"?
I was ecstatic. I'll play anywhere they want me to play. I just love the game of baseball. I want to win. That's the thing. I think this year, I don't know the exact numbers, but when we've been playing, we've been winning. We win a lot here in Corpus and the Astros organization. We have a lot of winners on the team, and that's one thing I really take pride in is winning.
Yeah, and I talked to J.D. Davis earlier this week. He was talking about how this team's kind of come together. You were part of that talented Lancaster team for a little bit last year. What is it about that core that's kind of stuck together there, at Corpus right now? How have you guys kind of come together and put on a pretty good winning streak right now?
Yeah, we just show up to the field every day, ready to work, ready to get better at the game that we all love, and we just play the game to win, play every pitch to win, and everyone in this clubhouse is going to continue to do that for the rest of the year.
And just kind of take us back to last year. You know, June is coming up here. It is a draft month is kind of upon us. You were taken second overall, obviously, last year. What was the draft process like for you coming out of LSU?
Oh, it was awesome. It was a blast. One day, one of my goals was reached of being drafted by a professional baseball team, and being able to play and kind of gave me a little bit of a chip on my shoulder, being taken second.
What was it like when you were kind of gaining momentum? You started hearing your name at the top of lists like that. Does any of it, or how do you kind of try to block that out when you're a potential high draft pick like that?
Yeah, I think you just worry about winning. I think you worry about winning and helping your team win if you possibly can. And I think the best comes down to people when they worry about winning and worrying about the team. So that's all I try to do.
And just kind of finish you up on this one. Right now as we enter today, you've got a 320 average, 424 on base percentage. I think you've got the highest OPS in the minors. If we were to tell you before the season, this is how your first 2 months would go, how would you kind of react?
I'd be happy with it, but not satisfied. I know that I could be a lot better than I have been, and I know that I still have a lot to work on. But at the same time, I feel very ready to contribute at the big league level, and I'm just going to keep working hard until that day comes.
Mm-hmm. And when you say you still have things to work on, what do you think is the biggest thing that needs work in your game right now?
I'd say all phases of the game. I think as a baseball player, you constantly have to want to get better in every phase of the game. You got to constantly want to improve if you want to be great at this game, and you really just have to try and improve in every single area, every chance you get, and that's all I'm going to try and do.
All right. Well, that was Alex Bregman, Astros top prospect, playing right now for the AA Corpus Christi Hooks. Alex, good luck tonight, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me, man.
Well, we go from a guy who was the top-ranked prospect in baseball, and Alex Bregman, to really among this list of guys in this look back at 2016, maybe the only guy who wasn't just a blue chipper, a top 5 organizational prospect or a top 10 prospect in all of baseball, and still is one of the guys of this group who had arguably the best season at the major league level of any of them. Ryan Healy, a prospect in the Oakland Athletics organization, a third base, first base, corner infield guy, an assistant that's loaded with those types of players. Ryan Healy was in the midst of already a very good season with AAA Nashville in 49 games, a 318, 362, 505 slugging percentage. With AA Midland in 36 games, 338, 409, 628. Then he jumps up to the big leagues in 72 games with the A's, 305, 337, 524. Ryan Healy did not miss a beat, and it was fun for us because that system has produced a lot of talent over the last few seasons, the last couple of years that we've been doing the podcast, but I think a lot of it's flown under the radar comparatively with some of the other organizations that have graduated such top-level, upper echelon talent. But Ryan Healy's a guy who comes from in the 20s in the prospect rankings in the A's system and makes a huge impact at the major league level.
Yeah, and fun thing for me for this one was I think we talked to him after the Futures game.
Right.
He was a guy who got an invitation, and you can kind of hear it in his voice, or you will hear momentarily if you didn't the first go around. Just how excited he was to be in that, and just what it meant for his career and what it meant, kind of for his family and that whole thing. He is a California kid, so getting to play in San Diego, all of that seemed like it was pretty neat for him. And then to go from that to being a legitimate, major leaguer, a guy, Tyler ran off his stats, but he hit 27 home runs this year between the minors and the majors. He had never hit 16 in a year before, and that came in the California League. So, this is a guy who's now on the up and up. And a little bit of a reminder of as much as we get bogged down in prospect rankings, guys can still surprise us. And he certainly had one of those breakout years that, do kind of catch us off guard, but are always pleasing to see.
We are officially past the midway point of everything that isn't short season ball in the Major League and minor league calendars now, and we are joined for this week's edition of the Show Before the Show podcast by the Oakland Athletics number 16 prospect. That's Ryan Healy, who was fresh off an appearance at the Futures game over the weekend at San Diego. Ryan, welcome back to reality. I would imagine it was a fun weekend out of San Diego.
Oh, it was a blast. Being quite close to home, having friends and family out. Couldn't have been better.
So tell us about the experience. The Futures game, obviously, I mean, one of the most prestigious honors that you can experience as a minor leaguer. You get to go out there, take part in the entire game, but it's more than just that. I mean, you guys, as rosters for the U.S. and the world, you get to go out and kind of have the mini Major League All-Star experience. Just kind of take us through the weekend.
I'll be honest, the San Diego citizens and the people that are running the Padres Park, they did an amazing job of making you feel like not only you were comfortable there, but you felt like a big leaguer. So I've had numerous friends that have done this in the past, and they gave you nothing but words of encouragement and kind things to say about it. And I think experiencing it firsthand made it that much sweeter. Being that close to home was awesome. I probably had upwards of 50 to 60 friends and family there to watch it all go down. But the facilities there are bar none. So, I mean, that made it that much sweeter, and the weather couldn't have been any better.
And just kind of take us back to when you found out. I mean, we talk to a lot of guys and we hear about how they hear about promotions or, getting that call to the big leagues, that kind of thing. How do you find out about getting to the Futures game? And specifically for you, how do you put all that together when you have that many friends and family expected to come?
Oh, my head was spinning. I mean, I found out when I was playing a card game Pluck with 3 of my other teammates, and my manager and my hitting coach walk over and say, "Oh, Ryan Healy's representing us on the USA team for the Futures game." And I was like, "I'm sorry, what? Who is? Me?" So I kind of had to let it sink in, and then I walked outside, and I called my parents, called family, friends, girlfriends, agents, just kind of let everyone know. I was like, everyone had a million questions, but I had no answers. So I said, "Hey, guys, I have news, but nothing to follow that. So hang on tight, and I'll let you know when I figure more out."
And take us through the game itself. You had a solid afternoon there. I think you were 2 for 3, throwing a double off Alex Reyes, a guy who you would face a little bit, I think.
I have faced Alex Reyes probably way too much for my liking. That's the first time that I have gotten a hit off him. So him and I have actually formed a relationship over the last couple of years of facing each other and seeing each other outside of the ballpark. So really, really awesome guy and even a better player. So, you really enjoy just competing with guys like that. And he gave me a little smile when I was on third base. So I think we were all enjoying ourselves.
Yeah, I was going to say, how do you turn on a 99-mile-an-hour fastball and turn it into a double like that, especially on a stage like that?
I wish I could give you an explanation, but it kind of just happened. It's one of those things where just your reactions take over, and once you're rounding first base, I'm going, how the heck did I just hit that pitch?
Ryan, when you are part of an experience like that, you were the lone A's member of the U.S. roster over on the world side. There are so many talented guys, like Alex Reyes that you mentioned, that guys who you have seen throughout your career. But who are some of the guys who maybe you hadn't been exposed to, whether it was teammates or opponents in the Futures game that you really, liked taking BP or liked watching on the mound? Who kind of stood out to you from some of these other young stars that are up and coming?
I saw Alex Bregman play a little bit in the beginning, and he's just the easy one to say stood out because of how well he did and how good of a player he is. But the one guy that I really enjoyed talking to was Dansby Swanson. For being the number 1 overall pick, he was a very humble human being, very willing to learn and discuss the game of baseball. It wasn't about himself at all, and him and I had great conversations through the course of the game. So I really enjoyed getting to know him, along with, I already knew Hunter Dozier and Hunter Renfroe. So we all had really good times hanging out. And then Ryan Stanek, another guy that I played with throughout college. So a lot of familiar faces in the clubhouse and on the field in the dugout. So I think we all enjoyed ourselves in everyone's company.
When you are taken away from, the routine of a minor league season to go take part in something like that, we hear, especially this week, there's been so much discussion about how for the Major League All-Stars, it's really not a break. The Major League guys go and they take part in all these events and they go play in the game. And then, there's a day off on the back end, but most of the time those guys are traveling. But in the minor league season, it's got to be a really cool break in the monotony of the schedule. What has it been like? Your last minor league game now was for AAA Nashville back on the 8th. Getting, taken away, kind of this dream experience, then all of a sudden you get thrown back into the PCL grind. What's that been like?
It was kind of a stressful process because you go out of your comfort zone. You don't know what to expect. Not to mention I come home and I have nothing but family and friends that need entertaining. So trying to figure out what kind of time I have available and then also what stuff I need to do for the future's games and to please everyone. So I try to please a lot of people and ended up working out. I had some great support systems that just helped with a lot of the extracurricular things that I didn't want to deal with, so they were great with that. But once it all came together, honestly, once I got on the field on Sunday, everything just kind of made sense again. It was just like, okay, this is home. I know how to do batting practice. I know how to hang on the clubhouse, and I know how to play games. So everything else was more difficult than the actual game. But tomorrow I'll go and join my team in El Paso for the opening series second half, and then things will start to make sense again in our world.
And just to get a little bit of the focus back onto the regular season, what helped you earn your spot in the Futures game? You split this year between Nashville and Midland. It seems like a little bit of a breakout year for you. You hit 14 homers already. We're halfway through the season, only 2 more, and you tie your career high. You're hitting 325 between those 2 levels. What kind of work in this offseason or spring training, or what's been different about this year for you, or what's gone into this breakout from your end?
I kind of got to a point where I got through the off season and I didn't get a big league invite, and I kind of had a feeling it was a make or break year for me as a 24-year-old, being on the cusp of a prospect, non-prospect kind of guy, and it was time for me to really either step up or step aside, and was getting to that point where I needed to really make a big change in some of the things that I do as a player. So I spent a lot of time this offseason studying film, talking to Major League Baseball players, people that played numerous years in the big leagues. Couple of guys that are really impactful was Ed Sprague, that was hired by the A's. That's kind of a mentor rover guy, so he has helped me a ton. Played similar positions that I played in the major leagues for upwards of 8 to 12 years and around that. So him and I still talk religiously. And then Kevin Pillar, one guy that I trained with in the off season and talked to throughout the course of the year. Their Tuke hitting instructor there, Tuke Bear, I think it is, helps a lot of the guys along with Donaldson and Encarnacion and Batista, and even Kevin was going through it. So him and I were going through similar adjustments together. Once things started to click through the course of spring, it kind of caught fire once I got to Midland, and I just tried to run with it as far as I could and really write everything down that I was feeling and thinking, and just kind of keep that in my memory book and have that as a reference for when things go south, because in baseball they always do go south, and as soon as you can climb back north as possible, obviously that's what makes you a better baseball player.
So at what point this season did it feel like things had kind of clicked, or was there one particular note you had taken that advice from those guys? Was there one specific spot or anything like that where it felt like this was a big year and things were finally clicking for you?
I honestly don't even think I've had that realism yet. I haven't allowed myself to feel the success that I've had so far. I don't really sit back and enjoy what I've done, just because the season's so long, it's impossible to enjoy what's already happened, because you wake up the next morning, it's a new day, a new game. So you really have to take the ups and the downs with a grain of salt and sleep it off and do it again the next day, whether it's a walk-off home run or a 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts, which both have been done this year. So you really have to treat them both like the same and wake up the next morning with a positive mindset, ready to do it all over again. Hopefully the positive, not the negatives.
Ryan, in the system right now with you, there are a lot of good guys who are at corner infield spots, and you've seen time obviously at first and third and is a DH in AAA so far. But there's Matt Olson, who can play a little bit in the outfield, also plays first base. Matt Chapman plays third base. Renato Nunez plays third base. There's so many guys who are at the similar spots in their careers and also similar positions. And a lot of people obviously would view that as a challenge, is how is the pathway clear for all of you guys to make that ascension to Oakland? But I would imagine there's a ton of benefit in that too, in that you guys can sort of commiserate, bounce things off each other, learn from each other. How does that dynamic work with so much of that talent right now at AA and AAA in the A's system?
You really have to put your ego aside, in the sense that you're not essentially competing against each other. You're competing against the game of baseball, because there's 29 other teams out there that may not have a Matt Chapman or Matt Olson or Renato Nunez or Ryan Healy, for that matter. So you're really out there competing against the game and improving your skills as much as humanly possible. And if one of those players has knowledge about something that I don't, then we'll try and share knowledge and learn from our mistakes and go from there. But it really has to be more, and it sounds really selfish, and that's not how I'm trying to say it, but individualized in the sense of your development, and allow the teamwork and the winning to kind of come along with that. Because I've heard numerous times that, you're there to perfect your skills, and that's what the minor leagues is for. You talk to managers, and you only failures you have is the ones that you don't learn from. So I think we've all done a good job of helping one another, and I really think that all of them are going to be big leaguers, whether it's with the Oakland A's or not. You never know, and that's just the reality of baseball nowadays. But You really have to put your selfishness aside and be willing to help people around you. And I think that comes back around and helps you also.
And Ryan, we'll leave you on this one. You talked about how necessarily it might not be with the A's that you'd be making major league debut, or you've got all these guys who could potentially move and all that kind of stuff. But in this A's system, it's the only system you've known so far. It's certainly one that comes with a reputation of Moneyball and all that, with Billy Beane at the top. I mean, they made a movie out of it and all that. But what is it like to be a prospect in the A's system? What can you kind of tell us about what their kind of machinations are, what it's like, as a guy who's come up from, a draft pick all the way up to AAA now, what it's like to be a prospect there?
It's a lot of fun to be a homegrown guy. I think anywhere you are, you've known the system and everyone that's in it, from trainers to coaches to managers to everyone, strength coaches through and through from the beginning to now. And it's a lot of fun to build relationships with all these people that you get to see on a daily basis. It makes going to the office that much more enjoyable every day. And I mean, the more people you have, it's just more fun to have. The amount of homegrown guys that we have in our national team right now is pretty incredible because of how close we've been over the last 3 years. And the success that we've had has made baseball that much more enjoyable. So, learning is always more fun when you're winning. So I think that we've done a great job at that, and the Oakland A's have really instilled that in their farm system and continue to grow.
Ryan Healy, the Oregon Ducks product, is a kind of a new addition to Twitter over the last few days at RCHealy25, but he's already verified, which is awesome. We just give him a follow from the MILB account, so you can find Ryan there. And by the way, there was a really cool tweet during the Futures game that went out. MLB tweeted out a screenshot from the broadcast. You guys were using some really cool bats from Blast Motion that provided a whole lot of crazy data on, swing speeds and obviously the exit velocity and all that kind of stuff that we've grown accustomed to with StatCast. But Ryan's swing speed during the Futures game was 74.9 miles per hour. The major league average is 69.6. So that's pretty cool. So go follow Ryan on Twitter. And Ryan, we can't thank you enough for making a few minutes for us. And congratulations on all the success this season, the Futures game appearance. And we'll be watching in Nashville the rest of the way. Best of luck.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for your time. Have a great day.
So Ryan Healy joined us on episode number 67, which was back on July 14th, and was called up to the major leagues and made his debut on July 15th. The following week, we were joined by David Dahl, who was at that time the Rockies' number 2 prospect. And that episode number 68, was back on July 21st. Dahl was just scorching through AAA Albuquerque at that stretch. On the 21st, he joined the show. On the 25th, he made his major league debut. So you're welcome, Ryan Healy and David Dahl.
Yeah, definitely. I'd like to think that the A's and Rockies podcast or front offices are listening to this podcast and being like, "Oh yeah, that Ryan Healy. We hadn't thought about it. We gotta
call that guy up. We hadn't even thought about it."
Yeah, that David Dahl, that first round pick we made in 2012. I forgot about him. Let's get him up here.
Dahl was pretty similar, at least in the final analysis of his season. The game distribution was different, but what he did at the major league level was really similar to what Healy was able to do for the A's. Started the year with Double-A Hartford, and we talk a lot about the Hartford situation with David Dahl because he played 76 games in Double-A, /278, 367, 500. And keep in mind, did it while never being home. That team did not have a home ballpark in 2016. They traveled the entire year, so we talk about that a lot with David. Then he jumps up to AAA Albuquerque, gets hits in 15 of his 16 games in AAA, batted .484, .529, .887, gets called to Colorado, never looks back, 63 games in the major leagues, .315, .359, .500, flashed some pop, 7 homers at the major league level, 18 homers combined between the minors and majors this year, like Sam was talking about with Ryan Healy. For Dahl, who's really ultimately a center field prospect, but can play anywhere in the outfield, a very, very versatile player, a very dynamic athlete, and another guy who I think so often we have interviews where guys can give kind of their own unique perspective on the minor leagues, but with Dahl in the Hartford situation, that was one of the most unique perspectives in baseball, regardless of who a player was.
Yeah, and I'm kind of glad we had this included this week because the Hartford situation was such a stick-out story, particularly in the first half of the year. I think the second half of the year, you can't really drag it up anymore. But if we're going to be doing a yearly recap of this kind of stuff, to hear a player talk about that situation, that scenario, especially because that's happened a lot lately. You look back at Scranton Wilkes-Barre was on the road for an entire year. stuff like that. I think El Paso had to wait a little while. Biloxi, definitely. So, it's good to have that perspective on this, especially for, not just a standout player like Dahl, but to hear his perspective on such a big situation for both his development and his teammates. To hear that, it's a good wrap up on the year, I think. So you guys will be hearing that right now.
Headed out to the AAA Pacific Coast League and the home of the Albuquerque Isotopes, Albuquerque, New Mexico, is where we find Rocky centerfield prospect and the second-ranked prospect in the Colorado organization, according to MLB Pipeline, David Dahl, who's, pretty decent introduction to AAA so far. He's batting .511, .569, .1022 is his slash line. David, first couple of weeks in AAA, hell of an introduction. How are you?
I'm doing really well. How are you guys?
We're good, man. Thanks a ton for joining us. It's been, obviously, I would imagine, a whirlwind couple of weeks. You get the call up from AA Hartford to AAA Albuquerque, mixing a Futures game appearance in there as well. And like I said, this introduction to AAA has been unbelievable. What have the last couple of weeks been like from your perspective?
It's been really fun. I was really excited to get the call up to come to AAA, and it's good to have a home park playing in front of home fans. It's been great. And then finding out I was going to the Futures game, that was a very, very crazy experience, very fun experience, and I enjoyed every minute of it. And then just coming back and trying to end the season on a positive note.
You mentioned the ballpark situation. Obviously, AA Hartford, most people who listen to the podcast probably know, but some maybe don't. The Yard Goats have been waiting all season for their ballpark to be finished. There's been a big discrepancy between the city and the contractor as to how to get that done. And so the Yard Goats have played every game away from Hartford this season. But now you kind of do get to settle into a routine that you didn't have there being home so far for all but 3 of your games with Albuquerque. What's that been like for you? Not only just being able to, go back to the same place every night and sleep in the same bed, but getting to play in front of a passionate fan base, that people in Albuquerque really get behind that team. What has that been like as a member of the Taupe so far?
It's been great. It's awesome having a home park and just coming to the field, at the same time every day, getting your routine in, just being able to go back and sleep in the same bed, being somewhere longer than 3-4 days. And then the fan base is really great here. We have a big crowd every night, so it's just fun to play in a park like this in front of fans. It's just been really fun having people rooting for you rather than against you.
And just to go back to that situation in Hartford for a second, I think you're the first guy we've talked to on the podcast about that. What was that experience like, just always being on the road? I remember, I think I talked to the manager there, and he was saying the thing you don't think about is laundry, and there's just all these other things that go into it other than just not playing at a same ballpark every half the time. But what is that experience like, just being on the road all the time like that in Hartford? You were at Hartford.
It was pretty tough. Just every 3-4 days you're on a bus traveling somewhere else, and you just really don't have time to get comfortable anywhere, and just hitting in other people's parks a lot. That's pretty tough. But yeah, it is hard. We had to bring our laundry to the fields if we wanted stuff washed, and the clubby would wash it for us. And then, and just getting your family or girlfriends or something out, for, some people have wives and kids, and just trying to get them out there is really hard because you just don't really know where you're going to be. And it's pretty tough places to fly into. Not a lot of flights available, but I'd say that was pretty tough. And then just the eating, you don't have a place to cook or anything, so you just got to eat out all the time.
And to go back to Tyler before, was talking about your AAA numbers and how easy of a transition, at least it's looked on paper for you. What has made that transition at least look this easy for you? I mean, a lot of guys talk about going from AA to AAA. You're facing a little bit different pitching. Guys are pitching you a little differently. For you, you've still been able to get hits in all 12 games you've played so far with the Isotopes. What has eased that transition for you from AA to AAA?
I wouldn't say it's really easy, but I just feel like I'm coming to the field every day, getting my work in, trying to get better, and I'm just really going out and trying to help the team win. I'm not really focusing on results or anything like that. I just go up there and try to have a competitive at bat and just win that at bat. And, I'm just not thinking at all in the box. I'd say that's the biggest thing. I'm just up there, kind of clear mind, and I'm seeing it and just putting a good swing on it.
David, how much I got a chance to talk to John Shelby, who's the hitting coach of the Isotopes, after one of your games last week. And one of the comments that he made that I thought was really interesting was he said, quote, he's not really trying to be a pull hitter or a slap hitter. He's just reacting and showing great hand-eye coordination. And one of the things that got me thinking about is a lot of the guys that you're seeing at this level are probably guys who you haven't seen before, especially playing in AA in the Eastern League. So many of the parent clubs of Eastern League teams, their AAA clubs are in the International League. They're not in the PCL. So you probably haven't seen a lot of these guys. How much of your success at this level and how much adjusting to a new level is being able to react and take just what you see in the moment of an at-bat versus the preparation side that maybe you're able to do when you have some more familiarity with these guys that you're going up against?
Yeah, I think it's big. These teams don't really know how to throw me, and I really don't know anything about them. So I just go up there and I kind of just hum a song in my head before the pitch is coming, and once I get ready to hit, I'm just clear-minded, just trying to put a good swing on it. Whether he throws it away, I just take it the other way, or he throws it in, I pull it. It's just not thinking at all. And for me, when I've struggled in the past, it's when you start thinking a lot in the box about what pitch might be coming or something like that, or you start thinking mechanics and you don't get ready to hit on time, so you don't have enough time to actually pick up the ball. So then you're just taking bad swings. So for me, it's just having a clear mind and not thinking at all in the box and just reacting to what I see and trusting my eyes and my swing.
All right, well, I feel like I have to ask the obvious follow-up then. What is the song you're
That's what I was
humming
gonna
to
ask.
yourself? Yeah.
It's just like a bunch of country songs. I just kind of change them up depending on what I'm on deck feeling, and just kind of changes.
Does it change with the moment? Is there a certain song you hum?
No,
when
they're
guys
all
are on
just
base,
kind of
or-
like chill. They're just like chill country songs. It just helps me relax.
How often do you change your walk-up song?
Well, this is the first time I've had a walk-up song all year.
Oh, that's
This
true.
place,
That's
so-
a good point.
Yeah. So,
So not very often.
I'm not going to change it. Yeah.
For this year, you were already up to 88 games. That's 9 more than you played last year. Obviously when you had the freak spleen injury. But how much has it helped you this year to be on the field as much as you have? You've had some injury problems in the past. How much does that kind of help for you just to be back on the field, be healthy for a full season, or through the first 4 months
nice,
now?
It's tough when you're hurt, and just makes you realize how much you miss playing and how much you really love the game. So it's nice to be able to come to the field, take care of what I need to do to stay on the field, and just got to keep doing that. But it's great to just be able to go out and play and have fun.
David, we talked over the offseason for a prospect Q&A story that I put up on the site in January, and one of the things that you noted was getting ready for 2016. You were rooming in Arizona with Trevor Story and with Ryan McMahon. McMahon has been at the AA level as well this year with Hartford. There's a lot of stuff going on with his season. He's been introduced to first base a little bit this year. Obviously, the Rockies have a very talented third baseman at the major league level, so he's getting that action. And Trevor Story, all of a sudden, you guys leave Scottsdale. He is the story in Major League Baseball for the first couple of weeks, and probably should have been an all-star by a lot of accounts, and has had one heck of a rookie season. For you guys, especially for you and Ryan, having been with him every day over the offseason, what was that like watching a guy that you spent so much time working out with, hanging out with, playing golf with, all that kind of stuff, all of a sudden become the guy in Major League Baseball to start this season?
Yeah, it was awesome to see that. Actually, Hartford, since we didn't have a home park, the AA team stayed a couple extra days in Scottsdale, so we were able to go watch Story's debut. And it was awesome seeing him. He had 2 home runs off Greinke, so that was just great to see how much work he has put in over the last couple of years, and see that transition at the big league level and what he's doing. It's just amazing. One of my best friends on the team to go up and do that. It's awesome. I'm really happy for him. And we talk all the time still, just keeping in touch and stuff like that. So it's really exciting for him.
And when you guys are talking, you're talking to a guy who's in the major leagues, who is getting it done at that level. What kind of advice is he passing down to you, or things he's noticing about the majors, that kind of stuff? What kind of notes is he giving you?
It's more just, for me, just seeing where my feet are, just not worrying about anything, going out and playing. And then I just say, I'll see a home run or something. I'm like, dang, bro, you going for 40 this year or something like that. And we just kind of mess around back and forth, and then we gotta just talk about other stuff, just little things. Not always baseball, just keeping in touch, how he's doing off the field, how his girlfriend's doing, how I'm doing, how my girlfriend's doing, just stuff like that.
David, when you look at his season, his start to this year, where you are now is really similar kind of to where Trevor was this time last season. Got the call up to Albuquerque, was really successful there, and then there was a move at the major league level that opened the door for him going into 2016. The Rockies, obviously, there's a lot of conversation constantly surrounding, especially Carlos Gonzalez, but Charlie Blackmon now too, which is a guy who plays in a spot where you play. Do you think at all about what the next couple of months could hold, or what 2017 holds, or is this all just right now about, kind of trying to keep it where you are in Albuquerque with this really hot start?
Yeah, it's something I'm really not thinking about at all. I'm just, I'm happy to be here in AAA and just trying to do whatever I can to get better every day, and whatever happens up there happens, and something I can't control. So I'm just trying to be where my feet are and just go about my business the right way and keep trying to get better. So whenever my opportunity does come, I'm ready.
All right, a couple of quick ones for you. Number one, you're in Albuquerque, and you, I would assume, have a decent amount of time away from the field now as opposed to what the situation was like with the Yard Goats. So two-part question. One, are you a Breaking Bad fan? And two, have you driven around to look at everything in Albuquerque yet?
Yes, I'm a Breaking Bad fan. I've seen all the episodes, and I haven't really done anything since I've been here. I kind of sleep in, and then I just go to the field, work out. A piece of advice.
Last year, I talked to Tyler Matzik, who said when he was in Albuquerque, he and his wife did a little bit of driving around, and apparently the lady who lives in Walter White's house is not super friendly. So one day, if you guys all decide you're going to make a little day trip out of it, just don't linger too long in front of Walter White's house. That's a piece of advice I got from Tyler Matzik last year. But number two, one of the things that you mentioned in the off-season story that we did was that Trevor Story and Ryan McMahon got a very good deal of fun out of making fun of you for how you play golf. Have you been able to improve on that and kind of get them to lay off of you at all?
No, I'm still terrible at golf. I think I've retired. I'm just not good at it, so I've accepted it.
It's all right. I think you're good at swinging other things. I think
that's true. That is true.
You have other professional avenues to go down.
Yeah.
He is David Dahl. He's the Rockies' number 2 prospect, and right now is just smoking the baseball all over the place with the AAA Albuquerque Isotopes in the Pacific Coast League. David is on Twitter as well. You can follow him there at DDahl21 and check out the continued hot start to this stint with the AAA Topes in the PCL. By the way, since David joined the Isotopes combined between May and June went 17-40. Since David has joined them, they've now won, I believe, 10 of 12. So it's been a very good start with David in the lineup as well. And David, best of luck, continued success in Albuquerque. We can't thank you enough for giving us a little bit of time, and enjoy the rest of this stint in AAA, man. Best of luck.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
So there they were, 5 of the best in minor league baseball, and eventually, as their years went on in Major League Baseball in the 2016 season, Willson Contreras and Albert Almora of the Chicago Cubs, Alex Bregman of the Houston Astros, the Oakland Athletics, Ryan Healy, and the Colorado Rockies, David Dahl. Big thanks again to all those guys for taking time out of their schedules back during the season, before the season, in Wilson's case, to join the show and kind of let us in on what life was like at a stage in the careers of guys who were on to bigger and better things. But, when you talk to guys in those circumstances, especially somebody like Albert Almora, you don't necessarily know where you're going to fit, or if you're going to fit, if a team is going to have a fit for you. If you're Alex Bregman, you know that you're going to be found a spot at some point, probably pretty soon. I mean, yeah, Carlos Correa somewhat blocking your path, but they're going to figure out a way to get you to Houston. If you're somebody like Albert Almora, there is such a question mark as to where and how you are going to fit into the puzzle as a piece, that it can be a strenuous, hectic, stressful time when you get to the upper levels of the minor leagues. And for guys like this to, kind of let us in and give us a chance to get a glimpse of what it's like is really cool for us.
Yeah, and I think the interesting thread that connects all 5 of these guys outside of just, their guys who made their debuts this year, is that none of them were traded. They didn't need to go out of their way to make that happen. They just performed well, forced their way to the majors that way with their organization, proved to be valuable pieces of that organization, and are projected to do that going forward. We had talked to other guys this year that we could have put on this list. Jake Thompson made his debut with the Phillies this year. We talked to him, I think, before the season started. He had, was coming off a year in which he had been traded from the Rangers. So he went from a place that probably didn't have a role to him to a rebuilding Phillies system. You can go back and listen to that one if you get the chance. Sean Manaea, another guy who had been traded from a very, very good Royals team at the time to the A's, who were, kind of constantly rebuilding, and he forces his way to the majors very quickly there. So we got him before that as well. So all these guys, that you heard today, or whenever you're listening to this over the course of 2 days, over the course of your travels, they all made it with the team that they started the year out with, but that's not always the case. So you can always go back and listen to some of our other stuff too to find those other perspectives.
And you can find all those episodes at milb.com/podcast. You can find us on iTunes. You can find us on the Stitcher app. And we have had a ton of fun this year getting a chance to really examine what it's like for some of these guys who are on the verge of breaking through. But some of my favorite interviews from this year have been with the guys who are not going to be on the verge of breaking through for a while. But we got a chance to catch up with, some really young guys in minor league baseball this year. A guy who you will hear from next week. We'll preview a little bit of what next week's episode is going to be like. This week is kind of the Playmakers edition, and next week is kind of the Newsmakers edition, if you will. But next week, you'll get a chance to listen to our interview with Mickey Moniak, the top pick in the draft this year in the Philadelphia Phillies system. For guys like that are starting out, that is another just really fascinating wrinkle to this whole thing, because I'm sure if you would have talked to David Dahl, if you would have talked to Ryan Healy, if you would have talked to Alex Bregman, maybe not Bregman because it was like 10 minutes ago that he was drafted, but for those guys who started off a long time ago, the road is so long in some cases and so arduous in some cases. I think about it from Dahl's perspective, had an issue where he missed a team flight and was suspended for a little while a couple of years ago, then comes back a few days into his career. I believe this is in the 2013 season. A few days into that season, after the disciplinary issue with Class A Asheville, he tears his hamstring. He's done for the year. Then he comes back, 2015, he has the ruptured spleen and an outfield collision. Just stuff that's very, very brutally rough stuff to go through. Now he's in the major leagues. Now he's a 5-tool guy potentially, and he's made it. So it's so different to hear somebody like Mickey Moniak at the outset of that. And there's a lot coming, and I'm going to have to be prepared for it. And then talk to these guys at the end. That's a fascinating juxtaposition of what it's like at the start and the finish of these minor league careers.
Yeah, and you said it at the beginning of the podcast when we were talking about Almora. It feels like he's been around forever, but he was drafted in 2012. As was Dahl. That feels like forever, right? In terms of minor league development. You want these guys getting up as quick as they can, but sometimes they're longer roads, and that's what we expect. Almora is still 22. Dahl is still in his early 20s. So, as much as you want to think, oh, these guys are just going to speed up, they're going to, hit 2 levels in a year, and they're going to be up in 2 years. That's not how it works. These long roads happen. So it's fun for us to kind of see the beginning and sometimes the end of those roads, and obviously all the possibilities in between.
So we already did everything that we're thankful for in minor league baseball last month with Thanksgiving. With the airing of grievances this year, I don't really feel like I have that many on the podcast.
And this isn't like a game either.
No.
we wish we could sit here and just
great.
This could happen.
I do have one. I don't yet own a Ben's Biz T-shirt.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's got to be a 2017 resolution. We'll get to those next week, but that's got to change.
Yeah, maybe that's all. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's my only complaint.
Let's go with that for now.
Okay, let's do it. Just saying, Ben.
We've got a lot of problems with you, Ben. And now you just heard all of them.
One thing that I also was reminded of while we were getting set to record this is episode number 67, in which we talked to Ryan Healy, was the episode in which I jokingly made fun of Pokemon Go. Remember Pokemon Go? And somebody took the trouble of creating an account to comment on the podcast article page saying, I don't really get Tyler's hate for Pokemon Go. It's just a fun thing for people to do. Okay. Yeah, I get it.
It went with the wind very quickly. I think. The teams might be still
like
playing
Pokemon Go. Yeah, I guess so. Oh, man. But we had a heck of a fun year getting a chance to talk to some of the guys on the field who made the biggest headlines in minor league baseball. And next week, We'll hear from some people off the field, around the field, and a few more players who made big headlines, whether it was through, guys like Mickey Moniak, young guys making big steps forward in their career, and guys like Matt Bushman, minor league veterans who spent over a decade in the minor leagues before getting that first call to the big leagues. We'll hear from those guys. We'll hear from a lot more coming up next week. Thanks a ton for tuning in. This is fun for us to get a chance to look back at the 2016 season, and we'll finish out 2016 coming up next week with our final episode looking back on the year that was in minor league baseball. We'll talk to you then.